Father, we come to you with praise and thanksgiving in our hearts tonight, dear Lord. We thank you again for the honor that you have given us to make decisions for this town. We pray that you will lead, guide, and direct us in these decisions because, Lord, we can't see the future, but you can. Just guide us in the right direction to make the right decisions. Dear Lord, help each one of us to be kind. We ask this in Jesus Christ's heavenly name. Amen. We're going to do public works first. Is that okay? Yeah.
Is Dale going to be here tonight?
He is. And we may kind of skip around a little bit until he gets here. We got some things we can take care of until he gets here. I call this meeting to order for the Board of Trustees of the Talihina Public Works Authority. Item number 2, approve or reject the minutes for January regular minutes as well as the special meeting minutes held on January 22nd, 2015 for the Public Works. Don, I thank you for taking those minutes. Has everybody had a copy of those and had a chance to look at them? And yes.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Don.
Yes.
Don. Yes. Rhonda. Yes. Gina. Yes. Becky.
Yes. Item number 4 is public forum for Public Works. Is there anyone here for public forum for Public Works?
We didn't do the purchase orders.
Okay, can we go ahead and do that forum first? I didn't mean to jump around like that, I just did. Okay, go back to item number 3, approve or reject Public Works Authority purchase orders.
Mary, on the rebates for Staples,
Yes.
how is that rebate credited?
What happens is they have a completely separate website that I go on and I apply for the rebates, and then they issue them in the form of a prepaid card, which then I turn around and apply to other purchases that we make for them.
So it's done with the prepaid card. On the degreaser, are you familiar with that invoice?
I am.
Where does that go?
Well, in this case, with Keith being out with a family situation, I didn't get to ask him, but I'm going to presume, because historically it goes to the lift station at the Veterans Center, and I'll also make the point that quite some time ago, the council asked me to set a meeting for myself and Keith at the Veterans Center to address maybe some of those lift station issues, which my schedule has not allowed, but that's still on my to-do list.
That's right. I led you. There's 2 different kinds of greasers, Donnie.
Okay.
And I led you the wrong way. The other one would have been through the town. Remember, we asked that about 3 months ago, and that was about a 3-month, 2
And
or 3 month supply.
we need to make sure that they get a grease trap up there.
U.S. Blue Book, did anybody get a look at that? Is that for membership?
Pardon me?
Is it U.S. Blue Book, is that membership or?
USA Blue Book is that meeting.
That's a degreaser.
Oh, that is a degreaser, okay. I was thinking car values.
Oh, yeah, you're thinking Kelly Blue Book.
Yeah, I'm thinking Kelly
Yeah,
Blue Book.
USA Blue Book
Okay.
is a major supplier of construction maintenance utilities.
Brian Lacey sales?
Meters.
Where do we put in the 1-inch meter?
You'd have to ask Keith James about that.
Because we had a 1-inch meter on there.
Okay, can we get a motion for the purchase orders?
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Donnie?
Yes.
Donnie? Yes. Rhonda? Yes. Gina? Yes. Becky?
Yes. Financial report, I don't think we have anything. Does anybody have any questions right now for Mary? She's going to get that to us. She just hasn't had time to get that completed yet. Nope. Item number 6, attorney's report. Sean couldn't be here tonight, so we have no attorney's report. Item number 7, discussion action regarding the account set up for the REAP Grant School Sewer Project bank account at the Talihina branch of the Spiro State Bank.
One of the things that happens with government offices is you end up with a ton of different bank accounts. And the reason that frequently happens is because either your debt instrument or your granting agency will require bank accounts with very particular titles. In this case, what we had on the books already that probably should have already been closed was an old bank account called REAP Grant School Sewer Project. And so what I proposed to the granting agency, rather than open and close yet another account, can we just reuse this one? I have to have an account for the wires to go through. It's basically a pass-through account. So I found out yes from them, the bank's willing to do it at no cost. So if you guys are willing to do that, just to simplify life on this end, what you would do is you would vote to change the name to the REAP Grant Sewer Project. So in other words, you're just taking out the word school. The vote would also need to say the number of signatures required and also by name the people who are authorized to sign on that account.
Mary, before you go, please.
Sure.
Is this not the grant that we utilized to redo the sewer in front of the school, or is this something new?
This is the new grant that you guys just voted on not too long ago with Dale. This is a totally new project.
I thought that was going to be in Meadow Heights and not the school.
Exactly why I don't want to use the school bank account, and I want to take the word school out and make it REAP Sewer Grant Project.
Okay, so we won't take school out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that way we can use it every year.
Okay.
We're just gonna rename the account.
Okay.
I make a motion to rename it REAP Grant Sewer Project. And we,
Authorized signers and number of signatures required.
Who's on it now is authorized and signatures?
The same ones as everybody, so it's going to
The
be
entire council.
The entire council.
and 3 signatures
and 3
required.
Okay, 3.
signatures.
Or, do you want to leave it the same?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion. And a second.
Second, sorry.
And a second, any more discussion? Vote.
Don,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gina,
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes. Item number 8, discussion action regarding garbage collection rate increase.
How are you doing? Thank you guys very much for letting me come this evening. We are requesting just a 2% price increase, which is 26 pennies per household, a very small amount. I have not asked for a price increase since January 1 of 2013. I know with fuel prices being down, you're probably asking yourself, why in the world are you asking for a price increase? Because true diesel is down about $1.18 this time of year per gallon as to what it was last year. A couple of things, we do not charge a fuel and environmental fee. I have not written that into any of my contracts. I don't ask you guys for fuel fees. If you've done business with large trucking firms or a mover or anything like that, they typically tack on a fuel fee. We don't do that with our customers. So when it's extremely high, we're not asking you to pay that higher fuel fee. We just, it's just part of the base rate. The reason I'm asking for a 2% price increase to 26 pennies is because we did have to put in a new cell into our landfill. By the time we put in our leachate, our sump pumps, our gas management, the wells, we have $750,000 into it before we ever put one single piece of trash into it. And we just recently, if you've been by my landfill in Alderson, there's a new cell right there on the east side that we have just put in. Hopefully we've got about 10 years of life left in that cell before we have to go on to another one. So,
Does that mean we won't have a raise for 10 years?
man, I sure hope so. But unfortunately with gas, it's a fake facade. I mean, we can enjoy it right now, but remember, I don't go to the gas pump to pay just like you guys do. I buy thousands of gallons at one time, and I'm still using the $3.65 diesel. So I don't have the benefit of going through. Gas is a short term. It's already starting to rise again. We're seeing it already gone up. At least where in my market, it's gone up. Where I live, it's gone up about 24 cents in just 2 weeks. My dad's in the oil business. It's going up. I mean,
When will this go into effect?
March 1st.
March 1st.
Yes.
What?
It's a one-year contract, correct?
Well, our contract was for 5 years, and we renewed that last year. This price increase is just for 1 year.
For
yes.
1 year, price increase for 1 year.
How much will it go up for business?
Depending on what size you have, it's 2% of whatever you pay. So not very much at all. I don't know what size you have.
You can check with Mary, she can let you know.
That's 60 cents
think-
per
But
car.
and also I want to point that by the contract, I could come in here and ask you guys for 6%. The contract does allow for me to ask for up to 6%, and our agreement is based on the CPI. We could do it based on the CPI. The CPI was actually 4.3%. We're only asking for 2%, and it's due to our landfill cost.
We actually had Mary look over these things for us, and I think she's got a couple of questions for you, or comments.
Yeah, I don't have any questions for Joey specifically, but what I do want to put forth to the council the decision that I need you guys to make tonight, because keep in mind the way our contract which is written with them, we actually absorb their bad debt. In other words, whether or not Donna pays her garbage bill, I still have to pay Allied to pick it up. That's very important to remember, and that's why we have a little markup and a fee in our garbage. You guys remember when I first came here, we were charging what they were charging, and my head blew off, and I said, why are we absorbing their bad debt? We took a rate adjustment. Now we're doing fine on garbage. We're holding our own. We're not actually going in the hole on it. But basically, there's two things that you need to consider. One is we can go up the same amount as they. So 2% of their prices, you know, for example, on a single poly residential is going to be about 28 cents, that we would go up exact 28 cents. The other thing you may want to consider is that if they go up 2%, we go up 2%. That's a little bit higher. And one reason that's important to consider is the fact that now if Donna doesn't pay her bill, I have to pay him more than I did before. You see what I'm saying? So we're at risk for more bad debt. It's very slight, but those are the two things I need you guys to consider, and I would request that you vote on tonight, one of the two options.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I don't know about anybody else, but it cost me over $3.50 every time they dump my trash can one time. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for a
Well,
trash company.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, and that's why more and more cities are getting out of it, and counties are getting out of it, because the DEQ and the EPA has gotten ridiculous to deal with.
You know, honestly, if the town of Talihina could afford to have their own trash service, we would. If we had a place for a landfill and we could afford the equipment, that's what we would do. But right now, we have to rely on someone else to pick our things up. But that's definitely something to look at in the
Make you
future.
feel
is
better,
to do.
I live outside of town, I pay $20 a month for trash.
Mary,
Can't
what's it,
imagine what the town would look
what's
like.
I wouldn't want to
without
drive to
our
the, Whitesboro for $3.50 each week.
service. Donnie had a question for Mary.
what's the difference between what we're collecting right now and what we're actually paying? On
I
average, what's the,
Well, Donnie, I didn't have time to do the analysis of that, but we're making around $500 a month. That's off the top of my head without looking at it. It's going to take additional analysis if you want more.
Do you have a chart, Mary, that would show us what we charge a customer for a residential cart?
Sure, I'll print one for you right
What if-
Or
what if
just
we-
give us an example?
$15.
now. I'm just
15?
15.
What if we decided that we voted against your rate increase, then what?
I mean, that's your right. I can't, that's business, and I understand if you're doing it in the best interest of your citizens, that's fine, but next year I'll come back and I'll ask for a 4% increase or a 6%. I mean,
Okay.
so it's just, it would be an ongoing, I'm gonna keep, you know.
You're gonna still keep servicing it?
Yeah, I'll keep servicing, absolutely. We're not gonna not
But you're
service
gonna
it.
go up on what
You
we
pretty
have.
much know you have a monopoly on it here, which is great. We're glad to have you, but we don't have them knocking on our door saying, hey, I want to pick up your trash instead of them. And you know that.
Well, but please also keep in mind that we're not taking advantage of it. If you
No.
look at the language of the contract, I'm way different from what that, because we
And-
don't want that relationship.
And I don't believe that you are.
can you
We're gonna
get me a copy of the CPI?
It's on the, but you can go, you can look, it's right here. That's a copy that I just copy and paste, and that's the, right there, www.bls.gov.
Okay, right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go on and search it, but that's actually
Okay.
pulled from the CPI.
And that tells me what
That, you can look at that.
areas you're using to justify the rate increase, whether it's increased cost of tires or increased cost of fuel or increased cost of
Well,
this.
it's all items index.
Right.
It's your contract.
Yeah,
The council just needs to remember, if we do vote to allow this increase, that we are gonna have to come back in and, like Mary said, have an increase on our end too.
If we,
I would hope that you would do that tonight.
if we did our price for a 2-yard commercial dumpster, right now it's at $57.85. So if we did the 2% like Mary was suggesting, that would be $1.
you're getting 57.85.
Because I've asked Mary to look to see what we're charging.
Oh, that's what we're charging.
That's because we're
Okay.
making 2%. So if we do a 2% off of that, that would be $1.20 extra. Am I correct?
But what I'm looking at is, we're 54.70 is what our cost is.
Right.
New cost, right? Yeah, this is the new cost, right here.
Yeah, but she's talking about what you guys
Right,
are
but the
charging.
2% above that is what, $1,
Sorry.
$1.08, $1.09?
Did you ask for a rate increase last year?
No, I'm not, I did not ask.
And-
And I don't, I
We're
have no
charging how
intention of
much?
coming back next year. what I.
2% if we
perfect
charge off
world,
of what we're
it's
making.
Hold
What
on
I'm-
just a second, please. Hold on. Go
In a
ahead.
perfect world, it's once every 2-3 years. I don't, I mean, that's one thing you can ask other cities. I don't
Right.
ask for, just for the
Well,
sake of
and I don't
asking.
think we would expect you to keep trying to continue without an increase when everything around you is going up.
Our labor,
It's over
the cost of
58.
labor has gone up extensively as well.
$1.14, it's just like 6 cents more.
Well, what I'm saying is, we could absorb the rate increase without raising the prices to the
We
people.
could, but what we're getting is an extra 6 cents. So it's not that much of a more, and it just keeps us a
Well, I
little
know,
bit more
but-
cushion.
We're not gonna absorb the bad debt like we did before.
Well,
got him. That's one of the reasons
how much
we
bad
got
debt do we
him.
have now compared to what we had before?
Compared to what we had before, not much. But we
Okay.
don't wanna get into that shape
Right.
again, so you need to keep moving forward.
Well, we need to figure out how we're gonna word this, because there's two different questions to be answered here. One is, do we allow the rate increase? One is, do we
Yes.
pass the rate increase on to the public?
And you don't have to do but one of those, but we're suggesting you do both tonight.
Sounds to me like we need 2 separate motions.
You do.
Yeah, I would
If
say
that's
so.
what you decide to do.
Okay, I make a motion to accept Republic's rate increase of 2%.
And,
Have a
and,
motion
and with,
in a second.
with that,
Any more discussion?
you've agreed that since we didn't use our 2 roll-offs this last year that they offered us, he will give us 2 more this year.
Absolutely.
So we'll have 4 roll-offs that we can do quarterly cleanup in the city with at no charge to the citizens.
Yeah, if they're u-
Well, I
they're
believe
used to
that that
use.
arrangement's already been made
But
with them.
but we didn't utilize it last year, so he's saying we can carry over this
Right.
year, the 2 we didn't use last year,
The same.
and have 4. So we can do one at the end of March, end of June, end of September, and end of December.
Now, you get
And-
what he's saying, you're gonna do 4 instead of 2.
Exactly,
The agreement
because you
was
didn't,
2.
if.
Did
and
you
I-
have that agreement with him before the meeting or
We-
something?
Yeah, he just
Because
asked
I'm
me, said, hey,
confused.
he said, we didn't use the 2 last year. I said, well, then use them this year. If you
Okay.
didn't use them, yeah, just use them, I mean, you can
So
add that to
that,
this year.
that's just something that you're agreeing.
Yeah,
with.
that's just that's the no-brainer. for
Okay,
me.
but
That's
if
no
we
big deal.
if we don't pass the 2% increase to you, what happens?
He just said nothing.
Well, nothing, I mean, we're not.
You're not gonna go
No,
ahead and
I'm
charge
gonna
us
shake your
now?
hands and say thank you very much, and I'm gonna leave it, I will next year. I don't wanna come back next year and ask for a price increase, but next year I would come back and say, okay, can I have a 4% price increase? And so, it's easier for me to ask for a 26-cent, 2% increase than it is to go 3 or 4 or 5 years and not ask for one, and let it all mount out, and then, okay, I need all 6% that we've agreed to. That's not a smart way of doing business, when we can do it little chunk at a time and alleviate me from having to come to you.
Any more discussion?
Donnie,
Yes.
Donnie,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gina,
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes. Another motion?
I make a motion to do our 2% rate increase based upon Talihina rates.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Good.
Donnie,
No.
Donna,
No.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gina,
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes. Adam, Dale, you're here now, right? Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. You're the tall one standing by the door. Item number 9, approve or reject invoice TAL 140101 to Infrastructure Solutions Group LLC for $7,420 for REAP sewer system improvements. Dale, can you tell us about it, please?
Yes, that's the sewer line, that's the REAP grant that we got. That's the design for the sewer line. Remember, I haven't signed the application.
Okay.
We got that sent off to DEQ, that's what that's.
And this is one up in Meadow Heights on Pruitt.
Up there, that's-
Well, we're talking about the new account for. Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
I second.
A second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Donnie,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gina.
Yes.
Yes. Item number 10, discussion and action regarding the water pump station adjacent to Belden Housing.
I had it brought to my attention that this is a very unsafe, it has a building that's just fallen down. It is very dangerous.
So just the structure around the pump?
Well, there's a small structure that's in pretty good shape that they use, But the part that used to be the old water plant, you can just kick the door in, it's falling in from the roof. It just needs to be knocked down.
Yeah,
I just wanted to get-
It's an old, one of them old water stations.
I have to
And
just,
you go upstairs to get to it, but once you get up there, you've got those 10 or 12 foot, however many feet deep they are.
Okay, we on 10 or 11?
We're on
or
10.
10.
So we're talking
Jack,
about,
what you're describing is by the old lake.
Yeah, that's number 11.
are we talking about
No,
Maria?
both of them.
No,
Yeah.
this is the one from across from Belvin House.
Yeah,
two
it's the
separate.
same way. You
Yes.
go upstairs,
Yes, I'm gonna
Yes.
show you.
Is it by Maria Burnett's down that?
Yep,
Okay,
down underneath.
I know.
Okay, okay.
there's an old pump station down there. And the last time I was out there, they kicked the door in, tore the lock off. Once they get inside there,
See, and
all they
there's-
have is little walkways.
Yeah,
So it's
In
unsafe.
between the little
See?
cisterns or whatever they got, and they're probably 10, 12 foot deep.
and there's,
Little walkways, yeah. like
someone
that.
got on that and fell because
Could we
it's,
not fence these areas off somehow?
well, it has a fence around it, but it doesn't hold
No, it
anybody
doesn't.
out.
Oh, it's
They-
not a,
The kids nowadays, and obviously
This
they
is
go
the
down there in the
inside.
summer and play. And it's an awful bad place for a small 8 or 9 or 10-year-old kid to be down there playing by himself. And he falls in one of those cisterns, he
Yeah,
ducks.
it's the old
Because there's
water
nobody be around till he falls.
is this something that maybe just needs to be checked out, or do we need a,
Well, I just was
All of it
bringing
needs
this
to
to
be
the
safe.
council to see if there was anything that, for them to be thinking. I don't know if we can just push it down or if it's gonna take a
I
lot
don't know,
more
it
than
might
that.
could.
It'll take a lot of work to push
It's
it
got a
down.
lot of neat
Be
things in
pushed
it.
over and all of the stuff on the top pushed into those holes. Because those holes is what.
Are there things that would be of salvage value, that we could have it torn down for salvage?
Maybe sentimental, but,
Well,
That old concrete looking.
yeah,
stuff.
it's not.
It sounds like what we need to do is secure the location, number one, and number two, evaluate future action.
and I think that's something that could probably be done in the,
General maintenance.
right.
So we want to secure, I guess I'd make a motion, to secure the site immediately with fencing, repair the fencing and lock and put no trespassing signs up and keep out signs to
To just secure the area.
secure the area first and then evaluate what
So we
action to
have-
take afterwards.
That's gonna be quite an undertaking itself on that fence.
I think they've already put, they was up there that day, I was out there putting up no trespassing signs.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can just drive right up to it.
Where you had to go up to get to it.
And it's a great place.
Wonder what kind of
place
fence you
for
have.
kids. It's a big draw for kids.
And the little building down beside it is where the pumps is at.
Now that would
They use
stay.
some water somewhere, and that's the only part of that place that's usable.
Donnie, do you really think we need a motion to secure the area? Should that not be our job as?
Well, it should be our job, number one,
We
period.
shouldn't have to have a motion on
Yes,
it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That place has been there forever, y'all.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody messing with it. It's just a place for kids to go.
I mean, definitely, I think we should do whatever we need to do, but I don't think we should limit ourselves to a motion and you name what we need to do.
I'll withdraw my
There's no
motion as
telling
long as we get secured one way or
When
another.
you get out there, there might be a lot more things that need to be done.
Can you follow up with the?
Yeah, I'll go out there and look at it.
Give us time.
So you're
Yeah.
gonna rescind that motion and you'll just
Yeah.
follow up? Okay.
Yes.
Do you know of any grants for demolition that we might qualify for?
Part of the water, there's a little bit of contingency money left. You want to use it for that versus other type of improvement.
Well,
I'm sorry, if you could, shh,
No.
thank you.
number 11 would be probably the same way.
Well, and that's the same thing, and of course, that's a great place. People take senior pictures.
So item number 10, we're
But
gonna have
it's
no action.
dangerous.
We're gonna move on to item number 11, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for those pictures, I haven't seen
Yeah,
them in years.
and,
Discussion action regarding the water pump station at the old lake, and it's the same thing.
Same
same thing. It just needs to be pushed over. Or
So,
Do
taken
we
down.
want to, another option here is to go out for bids to see what it's gonna cost. Dale said there is some of our contingency money that could be used for
I think you
that.
can go out for bids even without the okay.
The old pump house.
You're not okaying anything.
Up there by
so-
Carl Albert, and, the dam was over.
So what's the council's opinion? Do we wanna try to go out for bids on it?
I think we ought to
Check
do
it out.
some
Check it out
checking
first.
I think
first.
you guys should,
I just wanted to bring it
it's her
to
John, not y'all.
the attention of the council. It was brought to my attention, so.
So I'll follow up with Keith and we'll go out there and look at them, both of them.
Both of them.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, item number 12. Approve or reject pay estimate number 10 to Collins Waterworks LLC in the amount of $5,000 for water distribution improvements.
What this is if you remember right, when Collins finished up their contract with us, we wanted to leave it open because we didn't know how much contingency money we was going to have left. We was going to bring that line on down First Street. And the way to keep the bids in and keep them locked in to the bids was left it open. They asked me if they could get 5,000 more of their money back. And that would still leave the contract open, but they were,
Do we owe them this money?
we owe them 7,000, so if we pay them the 5, we'll owe them another
I seen that 2,000.
Why can't we close out that particular one?
We can, but I don't know what we're gonna do with contingency money. We got
How much contingency?
$60,000 left.
How much?
60?
I thought we only had 40
Oh, I can-
because we took the 64, wasn't that where we took the $64,000 back?
We took the 64 back, and even with the 64 back, the bottom line there is,
How soon will we be hearing from them on that 64,000?
they've already approved it, and it's, I think, I got an email from them.
It's already in the bank?
It's already in the bank.
Thank you.
So when I look at this deal, I'm looking at, okay, this is the total project. This includes the water plant
It's everything.
and that.
Yes, this is everything.
So we can close them out as far as this
We can
part.
close them out of here. The only thing, I just want to caution you, I don't know what we're gonna spend the rest of the money on.
This, yeah.
If it's the plant, then yes, we can close this out. If we think we're gonna put water lines in, leave it
I don't
open.
think we should close that out yet. Do you? Because you don't know what you're gonna do just yet in the future. Why would you want to close it out and limit yourself?
If we close them out and we decide to do line work, we have to go
All
put
of it.
drawings together.
Well-
And it's more money for
But
you.
let's be honest about it, $59,000 won't do
It
nothing.
won't,
Much.
but it's just according to what,
59,000 more than
I
that.
just don't know what we want to do with the 50.
Well, it doesn't hurt it to just
We-
sit there, right?
And then the other 2,000 goes to
will
them.
eventually.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But we want to get the plant all done, okay? We want to get the plant operating like it's supposed to. I don't like to spend all of our money because you never know what else you
Right.
might have to add to the plant to get it over the hump, okay? So that's kind of why we've been carrying this. Unfortunately, our contractor's been out there a lot longer than he should
They should
be,
have been.
okay? Or we would already know where we would want to spend this money, okay?
So I make a motion
Does
to
that make sense?
pay Collins Waterworks 5,000.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Donna,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Yes. Item number 13, discussion action regarding giving Valley Septic permission to dump septic waste in the sewer lagoons. Is there anyone here from Valley Septic? I don't think Gina, I think we failed calling them to let them know. They asked for this to be on the agenda, but I don't know that they knew they needed to be here. You took care, thank you.
I called them
You're
too.
welcome.
And-
They know, and I don't know why they're not here.
Okay.
But they know they were on the agenda and that they needed to appear on their own behalf.
Thank you. Is there anyone that'd like to have
Table it.
comments?
I just
for
table it.
them? Okay, all right. No action on 13. Item number 14, approve or reject adding security lights to the water plant.
You have a estimate in there in your paperwork.
Dale, did you want to get out of here?
Yeah, that's it.
Can I ask Dale a question? So
As
he
soon as we get through with this one,
Okay.
we surely can. It won't take just a minute on this phone.
Okay. Been informed that we need some extra security lights out at the water plant, especially in lieu of some of the problems we've had out there recently. So we were able to get some prices. We're talking about 3 or 4 different locations that we would like to put lights out there. And
What's it costing them?
Philip, can you tell us very quickly where the locations are for the lights?
We have one right there at the entrance, at the gate. That would be the most important one to have. And not so much on the east side because that's pretty well lit up from the park lights. But on the 2 on the back side because it's dark back there, and 1 on the west.
And Rhonda, I'm sorry, I must have misplaced that information you had. Can you give me some information on it, such as how much money we're talking?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys, I put it
I
in
have
there.
a copy on it if you want me to make some?
Yes, please, I put it in there early because I was afraid I would lose it in all the craziness
I
going
probably
on.
took it and
I have an extra copy for you.
Thank you.
Y'all can just share that.
Yeah, we will share.
All right, the cost that Phillips found out that it was $500 to $900 per pole. That was fee to set the pole, right? Pole and light fixture.
Said, that was for the pole and I guess the fixture too, because they gave me the price on each pole, and then they gave me the price of their rates on what type of lot.
Where would we come up with the money to do this? Do we?
We
Have
can
a
use
plan?
we can use the contingency money or the, what's the other fund called?
I got permission from the USDA to use asset replacement
Asset.
fund for it since it wasn't included in the initial scope of the project. Now, as far as the monthly bill, that's on us, that's operating, but as far as the initial investment, I got permission to pay for it out of that. That's the fund that we normally fix stuff out of, and we've got a lot of money in
Okay,
it.
the one we've been putting money
Right.
into for years.
Yes,
that-
ma'am.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just think we need to light that thing up out there. So even with 3, that would be between $1,500 to $2,700.
Well, part of the reason we're talking about this is because somebody came in because the gate was unlocked and open and nobody there, correct?
Yeah, that was during the daytime.
And so by locking the gates, we don't have to worry about people coming in, do we?
So why were they not?
They're liable to break, cut a lock or anything.
What
Well, but a light's not gonna keep them from doing that.
8:30 a.m.
8:30 a.m. and no one was at the water plant?
Cortez was assigned, but he was also working on wastewater pumps. So he came in to run some tests and check out the plant, and then he had to go do some town business.
So Rhonda, you feel with your investigation that,
It's dark out there. That
It is
Needs
dark.
to be lit
I
up.
would say let's try 3 of them.
okay,
There are different levels of lights on here. I don't know which one is the best. I mean, I'm sure the highest one is the best one. 250 watts is $11.11 a month, and the lowest one is 100 watts at $7.50 a
will,
month.
can you change those watts?
No.
Like, I mean, is
No.
that something, once you get it,
You're
that's
there.
what you
Yeah.
got, okay.
So I'm not sure which
So
is
you
the
can't
recommended.
upgrade.
That's what I need your guidance on
I don't
that.
think I'd take the lowest, because
No.
that would be kind of, maybe not the highest.
I think the highest would be.
Is 150 watts, is that sufficient?
I wouldn't think that would be,
Let me make it,
And you
let me
only
make it,
have one bill a month, you only have one bill that 2780 is gonna be on per
So,
month, is that what you're saying?
Each.
It will come in on our regular electric bill out there, as I
It's
understand
just
it.
one bill. So it's one charge of 2780 per month?
If
Each.
council would like, I can go see what my electrical engineer supplied on other water treatment plants.
that's why I
As far as
was,
voltage and hose and everything else. Now, it's probably gonna be more than this, but it will light it up when we get done.
what I was gonna suggest too is not only table it for this month and get a recommendation, but also with that, if we have some contingency money, why don't we look at setting up a camera system out there? Because how many
That's the
shifts,
next one.
how many shifts do we not have the plant manned?
Well-
And the light just tells them where they can go get their stuff, you
And
know?
we've done that in the past too, so.
I don't think you could ever have too much protection on the water
And,
supply. Gina had a question.
we used to man that thing pretty much 24 hours a day, so what's the
no,
deal?
we never did.
Yeah, we did
used
quite
to-
a bit.
What we used to do, and when I first went to work there,
3 to
we had 2
7.
shifts. We had the day shift, which was from 6 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we had an evening shift from 6 o'clock in the evening till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, and so we don't do that anymore? Why not?
The council decided that.
Yeah. Did we decide that?
We decided on-
Yeah, and the report, it shows 47 shifts this month.
We're still running 2 shifts a day.
And
We just
isn't
had
the
one of the
new-
shifts
the
cut
new-
way back.
The upgrades on the plant are allowing us to not have people out there all the time, is that not correct?
No, we
It's just not
we just never did.
computerized to where someone is notified if you have an issue at the plant? I thought that was the
part
whole
is
reason
done,
for
but
having that.
we are still treating water at that time when
I
nobody's out there.
understand.
Yeah, and if someone's not there to monitor their computer, just like the last,
No, it'll alarm.
We have
The
this
computer
now at 2
wasn't
different
hooked up.
locations.
The computer wasn't hooked up.
We have it sent to 2 other, if they've got keys out there, that's the 3rd place that it will be going to.
So Ron, is your desire to table this?
So you're thinking that you can get us better lights? Get
Or
us
just find out what kind they have.
I can just look at it and let you know what an electrical engineer would typically put out.
Okay.
That's all, you know. And I can get you prices if you want me to or whatever. But I can help out, maybe answer the question, do you need 150 watt? Do you need 250 watt? Do you need 5,000 watt?
That would be good.
Okay.
And that 2780 was each light.
Each light,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna have no action on that, and Dale's gonna research some things and get back to us. Item number 15, discussion action on security for the water plant. Same.
This is more what Donnie was leading into there, is that we can also use this same USDA funds to put in a security system out there and any other kind of security measures.
And who will monitor this?
Currently, what we did immediately was those gates are locked now, and they're locked 100% of the time. That's the very least we can do to keep that plant secure. Lights is the second level, I think, of security, and I think our third level needs to be a security system.
Rhonda, I might need to check into that again, because I think that's $27.80 per month on all of them, for all of them together.
Well, if it's,
All right.
Not per light.
right, that's what I was
Not
thinking.
per light per month, but we don't know for sure, but
I
possibly.
think it is per light.
I think it's per light.
I think so.
We'll find out.
So, I need some help on this. I don't know
Okay.
security
So
systems.
basically,
what we need.
they've secured it as well as they can right now. We need to see about using some
Signs are up,
money,
gates are
some money to
locked.
maybe get cameras and things like that. So it sounds like in March, we should be able to vote on something.
Right, but I need your information, your ideas of where we can go. to get
Well,
security
we have JE Systems out of Fort Smith, Southeast Alarm.
Bill, is that something you can help us with also?
And I know that's who we've used out there. And
Bless you.
there's another one, I can't. There's several.
So we'll get a list maybe from Dale, and then Gina knows some that we can contact.
This is not the water
Lonnie
plant, but the
knows.
treatment, the sewer lagoons are now locked also. We, the council, I
Yes.
remember, had voted on doing that, and it just got a little bit overlooked. So those sewer lagoons are now locked also.
They
Sounds good. No action on 15? Okay.
And before Dale leaves now, I spoke with Dale as per our conversation. We're gonna have a meeting with Dale and DEQ and Philip and discuss the testing and stuff and what we need to do on chemical treatment and stuff to try to bring us more in line so we don't get any more letters.
So it's the same thing we've been talking about doing? Okay,
Yeah,
so we're
and
just
I've
going
got
to
Dale's,
follow that.
mention it to Dale. And
So is there a date set up yet?
we haven't got it set up just yet because we're trying to get Mike over in Poto to make sure he can make it too.
Exactly.
But I did speak with Mike too, also, and on the breach that we were talking about on the decant ponds, and Mike didn't have a problem, said it's not a big deal. And of course, our test results showed it that it wasn't a big deal. But at least I brought it to DEQ's attention that we had this breach, and do we need to do anything? What's the protocol? But he's aware that we're going to get down and sit together and just trying to get the date put together to have that meeting.
Also
Okay,
got
so,
hold of Zach Pate, and he's the regional engineer for the DEQ for our region also, so I got a hold of him.
so
too.
Dale, would you just let us know when you're ready to have that meeting? Okay, we appreciate you very much. Okay, item number 16, approve or reject enter into executive session under Title 25, Section 307B1, discussing employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an individual salaried public officer employed Public Works Clerk.
make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion?
Donnie?
Yes.
Vote.
Donnie?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Item number 17, approve or reject exiting of executive session.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Donnie?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Item number 18, action if any from executive session.
I make a motion to hire John Gravitt as a lateral move over at the same salary.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Yes.
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 Gina?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Item number 19, new business for Public Works.
It's not new business, but it's some old business. I told you last meeting that Water Resource Board is going to be in town on the 10th to inspect the old dam at the old lake. Well, they called me and they changed it to the 11th. So it's going to be Wednesday, and they're going to be in town, and we're going to do an inspection on the
old dam?
On the old dam.
There is a concern out there, so if you're out there.
I'll be there.
Okay. Carl Turney came to our board meeting the other day, and there is a big erosion problem coming down off of the side.
On the road.
And he's quite concerned about that.
Right.
So.
And the road is not really critical to the dam itself, but
Yeah, no.
Well, if you're trying to get up in there,
Right.
a boat or
and,
canoe.
yeah, it's pretty rough.
You gotta want to go to that lake.
Between the two lakes, right?
Yeah.
The little dam between the two lakes.
No, it's the old lake, the far dam is what we're inspecting.
Lake
Yeah,
Talihina.
it's the concrete dam,
Yeah.
is the one we're inspecting.
The dam is fine, it's just we're
Any more new business for Public Works? Okay, item number 20.
I make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion?
Donnie?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Wanda? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Call this meeting to order for the Board of Trustees of the Town of Talihina. Item number 2, approve or reject the minutes for January regular minutes, as well as the special meeting minutes held on January 22nd, 2015.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Donnie?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes.
And I would like to ask you again to email us a copy of the minutes ahead of time so that we have time to look them over.
Okay. Yes. Item number 3, approve or reject general fund purchase orders.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
I second it.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote. Donnie?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Wanda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Item number 4, public forum. Anyone here for the public forum for the town? Yes, sir.
I'd like to address the letter to the editor that appeared in the newspaper regarding the petition being passed around for the city of Talihina to have a city audit. They should have an audit every year to start with.
Yes, sir.
And to me and several other people in the town, quite a few other people, it was a direct threat to the citizens of Talihina. The money for the audit has already been appropriated. Is that right?
Not for this one.
There is some money that is there. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's some prepaid money.
There's a difference in a financial audit and an investigative audit. In a financial audit, the money is an appropriation. For an investigative audit, that is a whole different thing, and no money has been appropriated for that.
Well, that's what I want to see anyway, and I'm sure a lot of other people in town want to see that also.
You're
And
absolutely right.
I can't see any point in not having it unless y'all got something to hide.
You're absolutely right. We should have an audit every year, and we are behind on that, and hopefully effective right away. We're going to start working on that. So
People shouldn't be threatened if they're afraid to sign something wrong.
we need to be kind. That's right. Okay. Anyone else from the public forum? Item number 5, financial report, and we're waiting on Mary for that in the next couple of days. No attorney's report. Item number 7, discussion and action regarding cemetery open and close fee payment terms.
Just woke me up. Okay. As you guys are aware, for almost 6 months now, I've been working on this side of the office, so I've been able to get involved more directly in some things that otherwise I was a little insulated from. one of the first things that I noticed when I started handling all the money that came in was the fact that for what we call the open close or the interment fees, or basically grave digging, if you want to say it that way, that for those fees there was no way to track it. So that was my first problem. I was like, okay, I'm scheduling a funeral, I'm telling the guys they need to have the grave ready, but where's my something that says I'm expected to get paid for this? Well, there was no such thing. So the first thing I did was make a spreadsheet. And so now that I've had this time to kind of understand the process, I observed that there was a problem. Now, the problem is the fact that we don't always get our money. What happens is sometimes the burial fees are paid through the funeral home. When that happens, we always get our money. It's not necessarily right away, but I track it on my little spreadsheet and it always comes through. Sometimes families want to pay those separately. The family comes in, they pay for it prior to the service. Obviously, we get our money. Sometimes people come in and are like, well, I don't have it right now, but we need this grave done. And 100% of the time, in the last few months, that people do not pay in advance, we collect zero of the money. And at this point, we have no recourse short of small claims court. Now, here's the thing about it. You know, as a financial officer, it's my job to bring these things to your attention. And yet, at the same time, I'm trying to think about the person who's going to be in that office long term. And you guys have to understand, you know, last week I had a man come in and his wife had just died, you know, and he gets the money out of his pocket and he pays me to bury his wife. That's a heartbreaking thing. So what if he didn't have the money in his pocket, right? And how do you expect the person right there to say, I'm sorry, sir, we can't bury your wife? The person in this office, in addition to the town, needs a layer of protection. We need to make sure we get our money, and we also need to give the person in this office a tool to express that to the bereaved. I did a little research. I wanted to start with our local funeral home because I'm not very familiar with the funeral industry. I wanted to find out how's this done in other places, and I wanted to do it in a way that our local funeral home would be happy as well. After visiting with Doug today, and he educated me on kind of some industry-wide things, it's normal to require payment up front, okay? So it's just not something we've been doing. I fixed the problem of tracking it. That was easily fixed. Now I need the council's support to pass my recommendation, which is to require that all burial fees be paid in advance of the burial or arranged through the funeral home. Because again, when they're arranged through the funeral home, we get our money. Now keep in mind, if the person does not pay the funeral home still pays us, okay? So if it's arranged through the funeral home, we're covered. Otherwise, I have to have it. This is because we don't have policy and procedure manuals here, and because I haven't had time to build one from scratch, I thought it'd be a great idea with my first policy proposal just to write it up and start a book with this one. So I have here a proposed office policy regarding cemetery open and close fees. And I was saying for cemetery open and close fees, the town of Talihina requires payment for burial services to be paid through a funeral home or to be paid directly to the town of Talihina in advance of burial. Are there any questions?
How much are we currently charging for opening and closing?
On regular business day, it's $125. On holidays or weekends, it's $200.
And that's opening and closing?
That's opening and closing. And keep in mind that if we have keep in mind that we have someone, our guys come in and do a grave outside of the scope of the regular office hours. They're getting an extra payment for that. So
200 and what? Was a holiday?
200 even.
200 even. Okay.
Okay. Do we ever sell a burial site without it being paid in full? You're talking about opening.
We're not talking about plots. We're only talking about interment, the actual grave digging process.
Okay.
Yes.
So do we ever have any plots that are sold without being paid?
No.
Oh no, they don't get a deed unless it's paid in full. But see,
Right.
then
So
we
that
have a
problem.
deed to exchange. That's something that typically people will prepay. It's a tiny little piece of real estate. In this case, it's a service. And you know, what's the motivation for someone, especially somebody who did this when they were stressed out of their mind, and now maybe the family's squabbling over Granny's money, and she's already been buried. You know, what do you do to follow up on that?
What Mary's asking for is whoever's in the office, so that they won't just seem like they're evil, they need to be able to say, this is our policies and procedures, I'm so sorry, I'm just doing my job.
Well, it should be paid up front.
Right.
Okay.
I agree with that particular portion of it, but I've brought this up before.
The interment of the opening and close cost to the plot.
I wouldn't necessarily be for that, just because plots and things get handed down, and also you may buy a plot now and you may not be buried for 40 years. My backhoe operation fee in 40 years is going to be significantly higher, so maybe in 40 years, even though I've had the money during that time, it may cost me a lot more to operate, but I do appreciate that input. I thank you for that.
Donnie, you had something?
Yeah, and I brought this up before, that we need to sit down and really look at the cemetery because we're losing money big time on the cemetery. We charge $100 for a plot and then we mow it for
But we're only
forever.
talking right now
I
about the opening
know,
and
but we need to also
closing,
look
so
at
that's-
adjusting,
We
it
do.
ties in, we need to look at adjusting these prices along with the price of the deal because we lose $6,000 or $7,000 a year on the cemetery.
Yes.
I make
we
a
do need
motion
make
to
changes.
approve the policy of requiring cemetery opening and closing fees to be paid in advance of the funeral.
We have
Of
a
the burial,
motion.
excuse me.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Don,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gina.
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes.
I thank you guys for that.
Thank you. Item number 8, discussion action concerning the property located on Railroad Street currently occupied by Oklahoma Department of Transportation. We have 2 young men here to talk to us about that tonight.
Well, one of them's young.
They're both young.
Thank you, Don.
I didn't say which one.
We had an agreement, we had a signed lease agreement with them when they first occupied that property. And no one seems to be able to put their hands on that lease agreement. And so we're going to have to regroup on that. We're thinking that got put in someone's glove box that is now deceased, and we just need to make this official. They're wanting to maybe make some upgrades, and we just need to take care of this. And they're here to talk to us about a couple of proposals they have for us concerning that property.
Which
So
property, could you clarify?
it's the one they're on now, the Department of Transportation, the state.
Okay, the state.
Yes.
Yes, we currently, we've occupied this property since what, 1985 or so.
What is your name?
My name's Ashley Hawkins, I'm with the
Thank
Department
you.
of Transportation.
Okay, thank you.
The guys, they really need a shop on that property, and when we went to look into building one, we wanted to make sure we had a lease so that we had, the rights to be there. After investigating, we found out we can't find a lease, the city doesn't seem to have one either. So before we could move forward with any type of construction, we would like to get a resolution from you guys, giving us rights to be there.
Before we had a 99-year
Yes.
lease.
Before we had a 99-year lease, I believe, and this is all hearsay, I've never seen the documentation, we entered an agreement for $1. We talked about going back to the 99-year lease, but that's not a good option for you guys, it's not a good option for us. If we lease it for 99 years, we have it for 99 years, we may not be there for 10 or 15 years, then it's still leased. So what I'm proposing tonight is do a quick claim deed to the property. I know it sounds like we're taking the property, but in a sense, it's the quickest and easiest way and cleanest way to do it. We will occupy the property just like a lease. Once we're through and ready to vacate, we leave the property. It goes back to the city of Talihina. We're not going to ask you for any improvement money or any, what is on the property. When we leave, we go back to the city.
So you're not wanting to do a lease, you just want outright ownership.
I think we can do either way.
With the stipulation of it will go back to the
It will go
city
back to the city.
if they don't occupy that
Could we
property.
just not do a lease for 10 or 15 years and then renew it at that
I
time?
think he's gonna.
That is another option. We can do a 10-year lease with a renewal. We would want an automatic renewal. It's just a matter of it being a little bit more paperwork and effort between ODOT and the city to do that. But that is an option.
How long have y'all been there on that property?
I can't remember for sure, I was there, the first day that we leased that.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It was late 80s.
Okay. I thought it was, it's been a while.
25,
Yeah,
so.
it's been
It's been
a
a long
while.
time. Tommy Morgan made the deal with the city. He's passed away, our timekeeper then,
he's passed away, and I always just assumed that it was in a file somewhere, and I couldn't find it anywhere when we got ready to build our building. And I thought, well, the city's got it. Well, the city don't know anything about it, you know, but the deal did happen, you know, and I was there. But we just don't have any paperwork on it. And we're wanting to build our shop. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get this done quickly because we have funds available to build our shop, and if we don't use those pretty quick, you know what happens.
And the bottom line is, they don't actually have to build in Talihina. They could go outside of Talihina, but I'd really like to see them stay in the city limits of Talihina.
Yeah, I like that. Well, for 25 years.
So you would be willing to do the 10-year with a guaranteed renewable lease on it?
I would prefer a quick claim deed.
Right.
I am open to other options.
But you would prefer.
The bottom line is, guys, is these people that don't have a shop to work in, they don't have a breaker now. You know the mountain and the snowstorms that we have. We have lots of equipment that need blade changes. We need places for the guys to get out. So I'm open to doing a lease with a 10-year renewal or a quick claim, but I do need a shop.
I'd like to do a lease, but also in that lease, give the option to sit down, negotiate the transfer of the property, and sit down and evaluate what we need to do on that aspect. I mean, you're asking us to make a decision in 5 minutes here that is kind of, if I brought you a proposal and say make a decision in 5 minutes, you'd say no.
Yeah, I understand.
And so I think we can all agree probably right now to do a lease, and then have in that lease a clause that we can sit down and evaluate the transfer. Okay. Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, but my only request would be that if we could meet somehow where I could formulate the terms.
Yeah.
And then next time.
When we can formulate the terms.
And next time we have a meeting, then I can have the proper documentation.
Right, that'd be great.
So I think if we'll have that back on the agenda for March, and I would like to be a part of that.
Yes.
And I'd like for that to happen right away. So
yeah,
I'm thinking soon.
I'm going to say this. We don't have a finer road crew anywhere in the state.
I would agree.
These guys have worked their tails off. I don't care if there's a spit of snow on the ground. They're out there with those trucks ready to go. They took care of us here in town when it was probably our responsibility when that semi turned over. But y'all took care of us, and you're a prized partner. We appreciate DOT greatly. But when we're taking care of money for 1,100 people, it wouldn't be prudent or good stewards of the people's money to just do something on a 5-minute notice. You know?
My question is why wouldn't we just do a quick claim deed? I'm just curious. Why wouldn't we just, I mean...
Well, in essence, wouldn't that be just kind of
They
giving
can
them
use-
ownership of the
Yes.
property?
Until,
Yes.
yeah.
And I don't know that we could legally do that without a big deal.
We'd
But
have to
they're
ask
the
our
only
city
ones that
attorney.
are going to occupy it.
Actually, we can ask our city attorney right now if we need to, if that's a way we can move forward.
Well, are you opposed to coming back next month?
Well, I'm just,
I see what you're saying.
We could,
I would love to have a resolution tonight if possible.
No, we
But
can't really
I'm
approve a
open to
resolution
council
without one in
wishes.
front of us.
Right.
yeah, we have to have.
I do apologize for that. And to my defense, I've been pushing pretty hard for 3 weeks just to get this piece of paper to you guys tonight. And the reason I am pushing is because, as Mark said, we have funds available, we're ready to move. So, any delays.
I would be willing to call a special meeting, and so maybe if, I'm sure we can't probably meet this week, but the first part of next week, if we could meet. The thing is, who's going to sit down and meet with them? I'm going to sit down and meet with them, and what I might think's good, and I bring it back to you guys, you might
So
not
why
think's
don't we
good.
just do it in the special meeting?
So just have, because Donnie wants it to say certain things, and so we've got to sit down to get that done. And then if we bring it back to you, it's going to be another meeting, so how would you like to handle that to where we're not?
I think special meeting would be fine. Let's everybody together.
Okay.
How much trouble would it be to write up a resolution for a quick claim deed and we'll write up a resolution for a 10-year?
Well, it depends on what's in it.
I don't know. And that way we have an option.
What issues are you concerned with leases versus a quick claim deed? Is it the ownership?
The ownership without consulting our lawyer, it's why I wouldn't want to vote on, without having the documentation in front of me tonight, but just checking with the lawyer and seeing, what the
I'll
legalities
check with
are.
the lawyer and ask him real quick.
In essence, you know, I got a bit of an issue with you guys, because it does seem like you're transferring ownership, but really in a way, it is essentially works as a lease. It's just cleaner on all parts to file fee. But I would have the same concerns. I know the council doesn't want to make it appear like we're just giving property to the Department of Transportation.
I don't look at it that way at all, but that's me.
Well, I think you've been good stewards of the land for this long.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been there a long time. And you take care of it.
Well, and we appreciate the partnership we have with the city.
And it is a good partnership. I know y'all work with our street guys sometimes and vice versa. I know y'all do a great job. Thank you.
Too quiet in here.
Very quiet. It's unusual.
I can turn the clock machine off, so, you know, there's no buzz.
Kenny Bryant, you want to sing for us? You want to sing us a song or something?
You old man.
Last meeting I turned it off, got to turn it back over, everybody's mad at the I got grounded.
Chamber Williams running on after this.
Where?
I'm gonna go.
I don't know. I don't know who brought it in.
Does it take you a while to stand away from
What's the water hose for?
Pizza man.
Who brought it in?
I have no idea.
That's the first time. I just saw it.
I just saw it.
I saw it a few minutes ago.
I haven't seen it.
Honestly.
Tell her what happened.
Probably brought in case discussion gets too heated, they can lose it.
Hey, Sam, tell her what really happened. Because I see the delivery car right up to your house. Oh yeah, she lives next door to me. I'll call from the restaurant, bring it to her house. They offered, this is the sweetest thing ever. They didn't offer to me, but I'm just saying, I'm right next door.
I give them an extra $2 more.
Okay.
I know.
I'll keep that in mind.
You're really sweet about it.
I'm not coming to you for that.
I've got a bunch.
You have outdoor?
Well, I gave you the pay for your office in there. I can give you some, I mean, I can't just make a certain color, but I've got, you know, different paints. Yeah, I don't have any just plain white. It's all got a little bit of tint to it. You like pink? I've got 10 gallons of pink. You can sit down if you want to. Yeah, I understand the old man. I mean, your partner sitting down, but
Johnny, he is standing.
he is standing.
Yeah, this is ceramic.
Now the hat doesn't make you look taller either.
Hey, I big one. I know. I'm just doing my
Okay, the city attorney said, yes, you can sign a quick claim deed if that's what you want to do. No, you do not have to go out for bids on it. And you can do that if that's what your desires are. Or, as they said, you can do the lease agreement with stipulations in it. But he said, yes, you can do that.
Okay.
He said if you didn't do the quick claim deed, he recommended a 99-year lease. That was his recommendation.
One thing I'd like to point out with the quick claim deed is if you do a 10-year lease or 20-year lease, you know, the land is leased. With a quick claim deed, it's in the deed that says if we do no longer use the property or we feel like we don't need it no more, we turn it back to the city. So we could end it in 5 years, 15 years, 20 years. So it's more flexible than a set term lease.
Okay.
So,
Did we need to see it in writing before we
Yeah,
approve it?
I think so.
well, I think it's only good that we do, but I think we need to tell them what our intentions are.
Have you got it?
I have a copy. This
Oh,
is my
okay.
copy of it.
May we see it?
Yes,
They actually left copies and they didn't get out to y'all. Sorry.
Only one.
You want me to go make a copy?
No, I'm good.
Well,
I think it looks like it's something that,
it's a legal description, and on the second page, it outlines, the first paragraph, it outlines what happens to the property. once,
right.
if we told you what our intent was and we had a special meeting to take
Yes.
care of this in the near future, would that be good?
That would be great.
Would you be willing to survey this?
Do what?
Would you be willing to survey this property so we'd know exactly?
We've already talked about that.
Yes.
Okay. So, because I'd like to see where the property actually is before I said yay or nay, because I'm in favor of doing whatever we got to do to help you out.
Right.
But I need to make
I
sure
don't think we're
that,
gonna be able to get a survey before a special meeting.
well, they've got surveyors on
I can
staff.
check on that. My only request before the special meeting are, do you want to still look at lease options? Because that's something that I will need to have.
I'd be in favor of this as long as we know exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah.
What we went off of is documentation from the courthouse. Basically, it's from the Cowboys line to our west line now where our fence is.
And I hate to say this, but theoretically, it's from the Cowboys line to that. Because I've had one piece
We
of,
don't want to do anything that
Right.
we don't know for sure.
I was paying taxes on a piece of property. When I finally contested, I found out it was my neighbor's property I was paying taxes on from the courthouse. So, I mean,
I can check on the survey. We should be able to. If not,
Yeah.
I will inform.
you know a guy named David Huddleston?
I do.
Make him do something.
I'd like to thank both of you for coming, and our intent is to get this taken care of next week for you. And we'll, if you can check into that survey for us,
Yes.
let us know as soon as you can. We'll let you know when that meeting will be, and we'll get this taken care of for you.
All right. Thank you.
I
We like
appreciate
having
it.
y'all over there.
I'm glad you didn't let your partner talk. He might have ruined it for you.
Okay,
Y'all want a copy of this?
item number 9. I have one, if you can just,
I don't need any copies, please.
Mary, we don't need that back, so if you want to just hold on to it.
Well, I'd like to have a copy of it.
Okay.
And you wanted one, didn't you?
I would like,
I'll just
Tina.
wait till the special meeting is done.
yeah, I'm gonna-
What I'm trying to say is we already have it. Item number 9, discussion action on 308 Dallas, Block 60, lots 4, 5, and 6, Faulkner Building. You know, I feel like, and I hate to just hound you to death on it, but I feel like we're not going anywhere on it. Donnie, can you help me out a little bit?
So you haven't been by it and seen what the progress has been made?
I have, but I think you're doing it on your own, which I appreciate that.
Well, I have to do it on my own.
No, you don't have to do it on your own. You can hire people to do it. You just have to jump through some hoops and do it. You have to pay some money out to get someone to help you. But you can
No,
hire someone.
no, they have to have certain trainings, and they have to have respirators. They have to be air monitoring on the site, and
You know, you bought that property.
yes, I did.
And that came along with it. We need.
Well, no, it didn't come along with it. It came along afterwards.
It came along
And-
and you said what you had to have. But the bottom
And we are making progress. If you'll look at it,
I looked at it.
I'm making progress. In fact, end of this week, I'll have all the framing out the top, and then next week we'll be taking care of the brick on the sides, and then we'll bring in an engineer in to certify that it's safe to move the barriers. That's what we're trying to do.
So is this a priority? Is this a priority?
Yes, it's a priority.
You feel like this is a priority?
Yes,
You
I
feel
mean,
like
if you have
this
not seen me up there, now I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm old, so I don't move as fast as I used to. Number 2, I'm scared of heights, so I move a little bit slower when I'm up on the heights. But it is getting taken care of, and it's visible. And I'm, like I said, this week, the rest of the framing will be
Okay,
gone on the top floor. Next week, I ordered an $800 demolition gun.
So what's the,
I hope
What's your
to.
projected,
I think by the end of the month that the weather will hold like it's been doing. I can call an engineer in to give us a determination that it's safe to remove the barriers. Because the back part's not the critical part. I can get that front part up as the front.
so you're gonna tell me that by the
I'm
March
telling you, I'm making
meeting-
every effort to make that happen.
2 barriers? And he has to come and tell you you can remove barriers. I'm just
Well, I have to have an engineering report to tell me it's safe, and then OSHA will have to probably approve it too, because they have certain guidelines. So I have to do the engineer to show them the engineering report to get their approval that we can remove those barricades.
You are making progress
Yes.
on it?
I mean-
No, I'm making a comment
Mhm.
saying, I realize you're making progress on it, but we've got to move as quick as we can on
Well,
it.
I've been working on it.
Because this has been going on for a while, and so we need to move on so we don't have to put this back on the agenda. And also, the next item, item number 10, discussion on action on street parking at 308 Dallas, Block 60, lots 4, 5, and 6 in front of Faulkner Building. You know, we're gonna have to open that up as soon as we can.
But
That's
you
taking
but
away
you
from
can't do it
parking.
before the engineering report to deem it safe.
Well,
Because if you do, the liability is on the city, and we don't need to do that. If you'll just be a little patient, hopefully by the end of this month, or the first week of March, it'll be ready to come down.
and that's what we're gonna bank on, pretty much.
Well, that's what we're trying to
Once the
do.
barriers come
Say-
down, you can free up that parking.
Right.
So once, so
Did
you're
OSHA say that we had to go all the way out in the street?
Well,
OSHA didn't say.
I'm telling you, the regulations would have been worse than what they are.
Right.
And so we've skirted the regulations, if you want to know the truth.
The thing we have to think about is, and I understand what you're saying, and I believe we've been very patient. I really do. And I believe you've been working hard to get it done. But we have to keep pushing one another to make sure that this goes in a timely manner. So, and yet also have to realize that it's not just, it's a lot of people that it's affecting.
It's impacting a lot of the businesses down there.
And we have to have everyone's best interest at heart here.
When you say that, I agree. But are we going to put the people that wants a park interest ahead of the person that walks down that street and falls on them?
But we're going to push one another to get it finished to where we can move them.
Right.
So what I'm going to put on here, what I'm going to have Gina put on here is that you're giving us a tentative date of
First of March.
March. What's the meeting for March? What's that date? Does anybody tell me?
9th.
March 9th?
I think it's the
Okay, so
same
you're
day.
giving us a tentative date of March the 9th to be able to move those barricades.
Unless I'm like the water plant contractor.
You're not going to be, because I'm going to hound you to death. Okay, so that's what we're going to go on that. So please try to work diligently to where we can move forward on that piece of property. Item number 11, approve or reject purchasing newspaper space for the Talihina Police Department for the 2015 Progress edition of the Photo Daily News and Sun.
I believe this is a requirement, is it not, Mary?
That'd be a good question for Rodney. Rodney, Ms. Grayson, that would be another requirement that you put that in the photo paper.
No, it's not a requirement. It's just something we do every year for the,
Come here, I can't see you.
PR for the department.
So we don't have to do it. How much is it?
Well, I've got the rate
Sorry.
schedule right here. It's $125 per name for the page.
Okay. Maybe we'll do it.
Um,
Or no, I'm sorry, that's $175. Here. This is what Rodney provided us. There was so much controversy over the expenditures before we thought we'd just line on that.
So basically, it's
agenda
going to
for you.
tell who your officers are and what's going on in the department. Is that what it's going to say?
just as everybody in the county does it, and they come to us.
Right, but you're going to have your names in there, you're going to have your picture in there, you're going to let people know who you are, and other than that, that's pretty much like a directory.
Yes.
Okay, and I know at one point we were the only one that wasn't doing it, and I had a lot of people come to me and want to know why.
It's just something she come by and present it, and instead of, we just put it on as a line item.
yes. I make a motion.
Have that money.
Why can't we do it in the Talihina?
Talihina paper hasn't given us that offer to do that.
Isn't this a brochure, not a paper that they're putting
I
this
think
in?
more people get the
Or is
photo.
it an
than the
insert?
brochure.
But it's not a necessary expense though, right?
Rodney, is this an insert that they're putting in the paper, or is it an actual?
No, it's not an insert.
So the money is available for that?
Well, I'm speaking out of turn.
I make a motion to approve for the newspaper.
We have a motion to approve the ad in the newspaper.
I second.
We have a second, any more discussion? Vote.
No.
Yes. I'm gonna abstain because of my family member, I think, might be the safest way for me if you want to. Gina?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes, I'm anxious to have a little positive news. Item number 12, discussion on selling property behind the maintenance building to Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. We have Kenny Bryant with us tonight, and he would like to talk to us about a piece of property right out here behind the maintenance department. Choctaw Nation already owns half of it. If you want to talk to us about that.
Yes, we own half that right behind the community center. What we're going to do, we're going to build a new community center behind the one we got. We want to tear down the building we've got because we're going to move maybe some part of the hospital down there, maybe a part of a clinic. We're not sure yet because we're waiting on to see what we can do with y'all. And we own the clinic here. I visited with Jackie years ago where the doctor moved out here and went to photos, so we went to work because there were some people trying to buy the clinic. So we ended up buying the clinic where I call them the homeless. They don't have to go to Poto to see a doctor.
There you go.
I said the white people is what I said.
No.
The white people don't have to go to Poto to see a doctor, so we bought this and in our regulations, we fixed it where that the nominees come and use our clinic, go to our clinic, and we can build them through another program. So that's one reason we want that, because one day we might want an expansion back there. And we don't want to lease or nothing, we just want to buy it.
Okay.
And y'all, it could be up to y'all, and we could, after y'all get a price, and call
How
me
much
or
is-
put it for bid or whatever if you want to do.
How much land is it?
It's probably about a lot and a half,
A
something
lot
like
and a
that.
half?
And the city uses part of it, but we're not going to probably use all that because we build the community center, most of it would be like for the parking lot, some of that, and the city could probably still use probably half of it or more of it, for what they need, And there's just a lot of good options, and like I said, I worked with Jackie with this, and she got me on the team for the night to put that up, and we want to grow something in Talihina. I just can't come out and say, well, we're just good Talihina, but I'm just going to tell you that's my little plan tonight for that over there to help Talihina out. Because,
Well, we're glad to have you, and we're glad to have.
Have you got any details or anything, Kenny, where we can look at what you're looking at and stuff, and
It's marked out,
dimensions and
it's
stuff?
marked out there. We've already
Is it marked out
the
there?
property.
it's marked
It's got
out.
pink ribbons on it from one place to the
It goes
other.
down to the ditch there. If y'all had to have a survey, there's no problem, let's get it surveyed.
I'm telling you, you want to show me someday what it is? I mean, I don't even know what it is.
And the thing I like, I kind of like the statement, we just need to kind of move on this quickly because we've got our plans and we've done got our money appropriated for this year to start our building back there and move on because if they don't, it goes back into another budget. And under our leadership, we've got to change our leadership so the money's in the budget to do what we need to do.
Yeah.
My concern is that that's kind of our only land that we have there, and I'm certain and hoping we're getting out of our financial hole that we've been in so that our men can get a maintenance shop, because that's something they desperately need, kind of like the state boys do. They need a better facility there. So, are you saying that there'd still be enough land for us to do that?
It may be 20 years before we ever use it. I may not be here, but the thing of it is, they got a 100-year.
I can't tell by looking at what to go through.
I can't tell by that
Vision,
picture.
they got a 100-year vision is what they got. And they don't, we just don't build something to be built. We got a vision of building something 100 years from now, and that might be a clinic they build there later on, but they need the land to do that. 100 years from now, you never know what's going to go on. So that's kind of the way we look at it, because it'll help the whole town of Talihina in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because it brings in a lot of business, the people that come to our centers, and a lot of people local will be working out down here.
Well, it goes without saying, Choctaw Nation brings a lot to Talihina.
You know, I think, Kenny, if maybe our next meeting and maybe even our special meeting that we have in a week or so, maybe if you could get some information such as, and everybody will look at the piece of property, and if you maybe want to make us an offer, I think we can go from there. And
So the pink ribbon is the land that you are wanting to buy then?
This is the property that we own. They own half, and then we own this half over here.
And they're wanting to buy,
They're wanting to buy the other half of it,
Our half.
This side, just.
our half.
Basically from
Or
the
a
creek
portion of it,
over.
They
or-
could build us a maintenance barn. How's that?
Where would he build it?
that's what I just want to make sure we have room to build our maintenance
Right.
barn.
It'll give the council a little bit of time to
But you gotta have some place to live
investigate it.
until you build.
It'll give the council a little bit of time to check into it. We'll try to move on it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we looked at some of them, and some of them, when you deal with the tribe, is that EPA that you have to look at closely because what was there before, because we tried to purchase some land right here in town, we done some soil tests. When the soil tests come back, there was no way.
Right.
There's no way.
The bad stuff?
Bad stuff. I can tell.
Yeah. I think we're willing to work with you and make something happen.
A rock to get it.
Really?
So, I mean, you know, there's just more options. We checked this out before we bought the clinic. We checked the ground out before we did these. We just don't buy it to be buying it. We buy it because we know we can build something on it.
Right.
And go to Congress to get it changed. That's my good idea. Y'all can come up with a price, then we got a guy come up with y'all, what we need. He'll tell you what we can do, what we can't.
You just let us know when you're ready, and
We're ready now.
we'll be working on it.
Let's go look at it.
We just want to get it rolling. We want to get it rolling.
So we'll have someone from here give you a call, let you know, and then you stay in touch with us, let us know. We'll try to do something.
But I appreciate you working with me with this.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
And that's how we do it. Then because you call and we talked, and we
Right.
got the clinic, and it helps out a lot of people. Because when y'all doctor left, everybody was going to polo.
That's right, you bailed us out.
And just tell you,
We
from the
know
clinic,
us.
from the clinic over today, I can tell you from my standpoint, there's people coming from Arkansas here because they get in, they get out, they get billed, be gone. It's quick in and out for them, and we look at even that, trying to expand that.
And as a retailer, it brings in a lot of money, I can tell you that, because when you guys people travel in so far, they book several appointments. So in between those appointments, they're coming downtown and they're looking and they're shopping. And it's a daily occurrence. You ask them what they're doing, and you're just like, oh, I'm here from a hospital, or we have those little white vans. It brings in a lot of dollars to us.
And they go to the clinic over, the dental clinic, they come over to the deal there, they go downtown there. So we're just trying to work with y'all on this. If y'all can work with us, again, that's okay.
Well, we definitely want to work with you on that, and hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to.
But thank you for letting me on the agenda tonight, so.
Well, thank you for your patience with us, and thank you for being here.
I just can't put up with talking though.
It's pitiful, isn't it?
No, I just can't.
Thanks
Good
for-
thing I got a good wife, huh?
Yeah, you got good engine.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Okay.
Item number 13, discussion action regarding authorized access to the town of Talihina safe deposit box at the Talihina branch of the Spiro State Bank.
See, Mark.
Whatever you guys decide, it needs to be stated in the motion who can enter and also how many signatures are required for entry.
Okay, right now it's just the council, and Gina is actually on there. We just need to know, do you want to add any names to that?
What's the inventory on it?
Inventory on it, we had a couple of, tell us what was in
There
there.
was 4 or 5, the hard floppy disk, the 4x4s, boxes of those. There was 4 or 5 boxes of those, and they were like 1996 records, around those years records. Yeah, there was a couple of old, it kind of looked like lease agreements for equipment that we probably don't even have anymore. There wasn't really anything in there that was.
There was no, nothing important.
Excuse me, when we found the safe and we had the safe open, didn't we say that all the things that were in that safe needed to go down to our safety deposit box?
No.
Not
But
all
some
the
things
in
did.
the safe.
Because I thought that's where all of our deeds were at.
I found out just.
That's where the
this
deeds need
past
to be.
week, yeah, that it was, that I could go in there, because before Darlene had told me I could not, and Jackie called and I am on there, so she went ahead and accepted it.
Yes, I remember that.
So,
Yeah, the deeds need to be in it.
Even before you were here, we had talked about. all the
Liddell was
deeds
the
were supposed
last
to be in
one
there.
that entered,
Yeah,
that actually
so
looked in the safety deposit box.
How do y'all feel about just one person entering? Should there be 2?
Yeah, should be at least 2.
That's what I would think.
Well, the bank Oh, you need someone other than that?
Yeah, right now, there's only one person. So that means if I go and put the stuff that you and Liddell or whoever have discussed.
One of the council members have to
No,
be.
there's not one person that has access. The entire council does, including you.
Right, but one person at a time.
Oh, one person.
That's what
at a
I was
time.
Yeah, it needs to be two.
So if I take those things down to the bank,
I
then
would
that means
say
I
it
have to
would
get somebody
be-
to go with me.
Any council member could go in with you. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we wouldn't go ahead and put Mary on that, since she's been employed here. I would say add Mary to the list and then make it a requirement that there's two people that are on the signature card to enter, right?
2 signatures to enter this.
Yeah. So, want that part of the motion?
I make a motion to add Mary. No,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I think you
I
can.
can't do that.
No.
You go ahead.
I make a motion to add Mary Timmons to the list of authorized persons for the Talihina branch safety deposit box and to require two signature members to be present at each time.
Okay, have a motion
My only question with that,
and a second. Any more discussion?
and my only question with that is accounting standards. If you do her and Mary, you got two people that are financial people.
I don't think they should
No,
go.
one of the council
Yeah, it
people
would
should
need
go
to
Okay,
with
but it's not
her.
stated that way.
It's not stated that way.
Yeah, you want to
You
amend
want to
it?
rescind your motion and start over?
Because I really think it should be a council.
Okay, I rescind my motion.
Start over.
I make a motion to add Mary Timmons as an authorized agent to enter the safety deposit box. Also require that at least one council member be present at the time that the safety deposit box is open. That would take care of it.
Okay, good. So we have a motion
I second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Donna,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gina,
Abstain.
Jackie.
Yes. Item number 14, approve or reject enter into executive session under Title 25, Section 307B1, discussing employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an individual salaried public officer employed. Gina Jones.
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Donna,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gina,
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes.
Give it time.
Do what?
And Brian,
We're getting down to the diehards
just
now.
real quick, like, notice your report from Brian. He's
I
got
already
the
have.
software, it's awesome.
Yes, and
Awesome.
it's nice.
And it breaks it down too.
Incident type report by date. Whoa.
It shows our response times, the number of people that show up on calls, the amount of hours they put into a call, the amount of hours that are at the station cleaning.
I'm
This will be
thoroughly
my
impressed.
bedtime reading tonight.
Yes.
Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate that.
You-
Okay,
you're-
item number 16, or item number 15,
I'll
approve
bring
or
it up.
reject exiting of executive session.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Vote. Donna,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gina,
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes. Action, if any, from executive session, item number 16.
I make a motion that Gina put in writing her request for the hours, her employment hours.
Requested, okay. We have a motion
I second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Donna,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Gina,
Yes.
Jackie, yes. Okay, you want to say something, Ron?
Yeah, you made the model for the rest of the departments. I was thoroughly impressed. Great report. You couldn't ask for, you couldn't ask for anything more.
Now just ask for a raise.
And,
Ask for a raise, Brian, go ahead.
but, well, he might get, what is it? We said
Anything's an improvement.
no, what is it? No water bill for firefighters, retired firefighters or something.
No, it was
He's got too
Sewer.
far now.
Sewer.
He's
What I would
too
like to do
far
is
to go
look
with
at
that.
run call.
But this is what
Yeah, myself.
the other departments should be doing. This is impressive.
Well, that's a program we spent our county money on.
Mm-hmm.
And once you input or run into it, and the people that show up on that run, it automatically puts them throughout the program. It actually shows you the time of the month that was the busiest time of the month for you, time of day. I've got the inventory, which I had to make enough print-offs for everybody. I will start.
But it was impressive too.
I don't want to hold y'all up.
That's all, I'm okay with it, because I'm impressed with this.
The inventory sheet, right now is just what we've started. And putting everything in with prices.
Excellent.
And the last page gives you a total price.
Oh, is this for us?
No, that's mine. You can just pass it around, you want to, and let everybody know.
Impressive. Very impressive.
Very good.
Thanks, Brian.
Now, we need to, you're gonna be mad when we go to the police and the maintenance and the water and say, hey guys, here's what y'all need to be doing.
Well, they may be upset. Don't make them upset about it.
Item number 17, approve or reject enter into executive session under Title 25, Section 307B1, discussing employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an individual salaried public officer, employee, or court clerk.
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion? Second. And a second. Any more discussion? Vote. Donnie?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Yes.
Jackie? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, item number 18, approve or reject exiting of executive session.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion
Donna seconds.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote. Donna?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Item number 19, action if any from executive session.
I make a motion to add court clerk duties to the utility clerk's duties with no extra pay.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote. Donnie?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Item number 20, approve or reject entering into executive session under Title 25, Section 307B1, discussing employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an individual salaried public officer, employee, dispatcher.
I make a motion to approve.
Second motion and a second. Any more discussion? Vote. Donnie?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Item number 21.
No one?
Approve or reject exiting of executive session.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Vote. Donnie?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Yes. Item number 22, action if any from executive session.
I make a motion to hire Travis Washington as a full-time dispatcher at the starting salary.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Vote. Donnie?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes.
Okay.
Did you second? I seconded it, yes, sir.
There it is. Okay. I make a motion to hire Deborah Falkenberry as the second full-time dispatcher at the starting motion. Pay.
Second.
And a second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Who was that, Deborah Falkenberry?
Vote. Donnie?
No.
Donna?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Well, how many had a question?
Does that include, did you say you were hiring, is that Roger's wife or his?
This is mother.
His mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 23, approve or reject enter into an executive session under Title 25, Section 307B1, discussing employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an individual salaried public officer, employee, animal control officer.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any more discussion? Donnie? Vote.
No.
Yes.
He does.
He wants to go home.
Yes. Just one.
Gina?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Further exiting of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
A second. Any more discussion? Vote.
Donnie?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes. Item number 25, action if any from executive session.
I make a motion to that Rick Rose be retained once more as animal control officer.
We have a motion.
At what salary and hours?
$500 a month.
And what are his expected hours?
Well, he'll work like Brian did. He worked a couple hours every day. Is that what he did?
2 to 3.
I don't want that in the form of a motion.
No.
So he can work whatever he wants to and gets $500 a month?
They had it, Brian worked all night as a dispatcher. And then I believe he worked 3 hours after that, 2 to 3 hours after.
When he got off work, he'd go till about 9:30, 10 o'clock, take care of the dog, and whatever to do, and pick up what was running the track.
Well, how do we document?
Again, if you set those hours, you are limiting what can go on with that animal control.
And if you don't set it, you're not.
You're going to leave
not.
it up to the department and the commissioner to take care of it.
I believe he turns in a separate, who monitors his time? Rodney monitors his time. If we want...
You need to say a minimum hours.
Okay, well, what if he clocked in out back when he was on animal control?
You have a clock right in here.
Do we?
I guarantee you he's gonna work more hours than what you.
Yeah, because even Brian got called out a lot more than, if the officer...
Well, once he got a hold of it, he didn't have to be called out.
Right.
Because he would cruise town 2 or 3 hours in the morning, and he wouldn't be able to pick up the dog.
You're talking about 24 hours a day here.
But sometimes...
Yeah, that's not...
I want Rick to have the freedom to work his minimum hours or so, but if he needs to do it in the evening time, I don't have an objection to it just being...
Well, I'm not opposed to when he does it. I just want to make sure that when we give him $500, we know what we're getting for $500.
Well, how many hours do you think we should work for $500?
That's what I'm asking. I'm just bringing this up for discussion.
We put a
10 hours a week?
It was 10 hours.
I think we had a limit on it.
I think it was 10 hours a week. It was 2 hours
Yeah,
more than we had 2 days off where we didn't call him unless there was an emergency.
Yeah, they, when it was his days off, he was off.
Yeah.
And so, unless it was an emergency. Because then, and they worked it just like that. That's how come it worked so well. But the $500, it averaged out to about $10 an hour, maybe a little more.
Yeah, he's working, well,
We
probably,
got 40 hours, basically, right?
he'd probably work,
But it's-
about 3 or 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, about 20 hours. Something like that.
And Dr. Dorsey.
You gotta put in your kennel and feeding them water.
Yeah, there's a, and that is.
I mean, that's something you gotta do every day.
So you want to put a minimum, is that what you're saying?
I would put a minimum of,
Oh,
what, 12?
I didn't know anybody was
15 a
over
week?
there, I'm sorry.
A minimum of 10 hours a week?
I'd say a minimum of 10 a week, yeah.
So you put that in your motion?
I make,
What's the motion that we have? Jenny, can you read it back to us?
10 hours a
Rick
week.
Rose at $500 a month, and then we got
With
the
animal
animal
control.
yes, with a minimum hour of 12 hours, 10 hours a week, I'm sorry, minimum. And it needs to be specified, he needs to have his time sheet to her on time.
Vote.
I didn't have a second.
I did, yeah. I'll
Okay.
do.
Okay. Donnie?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Yes.
Usually what they do on on the dog catcher, what he do on his time sheet is I got a calendar over there. And if he worked 2 hours, he wrote it on a calendar. And then when I do time sheets,
Okay,
There is though, I think.
you take care of that.
Does that have to say
Okay. And that worked out
action
well.
on
I
it?
think dollars is enough.
I don't either.
I don't think that's.
I don't think it is either.
Thank you.
No, it should be consideration of and possible
Yeah.
action.
That's what I thought. And not because
Okay,
I'm
item
going
number 26, lots.
Is that on the?
Is that all we're doing? We're not discussing anything?
Nope, we're just gonna talk about lots. Anybody notice that before ahead of time? We just now noticed that?
No, I noticed it and I sent it an email quickly when I read that I guess we aren't doing anything a lot, so I think it was on the agenda correctly.
It's not, is it?
No.
Is it not the same as
No.
the attorneys and
No.
everything else?
Theirs is reports.
You should have consideration of and
Discussion.
possible
We're gonna-
action of something. on
We're gonna
it.
talk about these lots.
Okay.
We're not gonna have any action on them because we
Okay,
can't.
can't.
Because we can't, again.
Michael Ludlow, Meta Heights. I personally don't remember Michael Ludlow, do y'all?
No, it got cleaned.
Well, that's good it got cleaned because I don't
Or we want
remember.
me to just pass this around, what all of them have been
No,
done?
we want to see the files.
Okay.
Joyce Bills, she's the one on 302 Duke. Rhonda, that's the one you worked on quite a few times. It has been cleaned up. We do have a picture of it. You need to make sure you update that.
Okay.
Because that's September 26th. You need to update that over here. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. East Oak Properties, 4098.
The trailer park?
East Oak Properties.
It's clean.
We're trying to figure out where it is.
Right up 8th Street,
4098. It's the one that's right next to where
Roy Smith.
Roy Smith had a travel trailer there. I don't
So
remember
they
that.
just asked them, we send them a letter?
Yep.
Yes.
And they letter.
It's
Send a
nice and
courtesy letter.
clean.
Yeah. Angela Burns, 505 Pruitt.
Clean.
Send her a courtesy letter. Is that what you sent her, a courtesy letter?
Yes.
So courtesy letter, it got cleaned up.
505 Pruitt.
Yes, you need to make sure you update your files.
Okay.
That's the one, 505 Pruitt, right across from the library.
Right. And I just,
So the courtesy letter is what it's telling me is that
I got
they
nothing
work.
air.
The courtesy letters
Somebody's
are.
got-
Sandra McGee, 1105 Veterans.
Yes.
This is the one that had a car at it, didn't it?
And it's
So, the letter worked, but it's sitting here.
What's sitting here?
The East Oaks property, it says
Courtesy
return
letter.
to sender.
When was this? It was, that was November of 14.
Uh-huh.
So was it sent out
Letter was
again?
sent 11/20th. Letter was returned here.
It's clean.
But the property's
Well, the
clean.
courtea letter didn't work if the letter's
So,
inside.
yeah, I mean, it didn't,
So
they didn't receive it.
Victory Baptist 1201 Veterans, we know that was taken care of. It was a car on the property that didn't have a tag. That's the parsonage. So we can't say that letter worked. Ed Nelson, 211 Sequoia, courtesy letter, it was cleaned up. So there's a lot of this terrible property in town getting cleaned up.
It's just
Because
so
we
bad.
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that we've addressed tonight that have been cleaned.
And this one did not get a letter, this is Rodney's, but because it was on there before in the past as being a problem, I went ahead and took a clean picture.
Whose is it?
It's not
It's the
Rodney's, it's Mr. Ford's.
It's the trailer. The trailer, right?
Rodney's.
It's Kenny Deal, or
It's Kenny Deal.
That's his, he bought it.
Put it down, set up in Isherwood.
I'm going as fast as I can on them.
Okay, so where the trailer is for Kenny, where the trailer is, Kenny Deal's was where that trailer is just taken care of. It's real clean.
Trailer is no longer there. It's
Lavinia Craig, we'll get back to that, 504 Jackson. It was cleaned up too. And it looks like it was a courtesy letter also, and it's not in the file. And there is pictures in here showing where they've been cleaned.
looks like a good job.
Yeah. These other ones on here, what do you mean by none? You sent letters and there's no response.
Right, this, on the ones that say none, that means that they haven't done anything.
But you sent letters.
Yes.
So Rick Barron, 801 First Street, no, nothing done. Did he pick up his letter?
Well, it was a courtesy letter, we wouldn't
It
know.
wasn't a certified letter.
You You see,
Was it
courtesy
returned?
list? I thought we decided just. to
No, we said
send it.
courtesy, I remember it.
Okay, so he got it and didn't do anything. Arthur Shoemake, 701 Veterans, he got it, didn't do anything. Norma Pierce, she got it, 501 Roberts.
She didn't call me.
She didn't
She
call.
told me that she did not have time to do that.
I don't,
Okay. Trucks Unlimited, 401 8th Street, got a courtesy letter.
And they must have got it, it didn't come back.
Nothing done on that. Linda Hoyle, 408th Street.
Nothing came back.
And it didn't get done.
Right.
So on our special meeting, we will have these properties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties on here for us to, yes, Donnie?
No.
No,
Rodney.
Thought you wanted to dance or
when you
something.
guys
ready.
drive by, the
You like the rhythm?
Yeah.
Vicks up in Meadow Heights, is that still a mess? Is he parked, I understand he was even parking stuff across the street. Has anybody ever,
It's parked everywhere. But it's-
yeah, there is everywhere.
But there's one over there on, Sigler's over there on.
Yeah,
And
that's-
Sigler needs to be addressed because he's running
I mean,
a wood.
there's equipment sitting there, don't even have engines sitting there.
Exactly.
Okay,
It needs to be
so
gone.
new ones, Lahoma, you had one?
Yeah, well, it's the same old one, it's the Sigler's over
The
there.
Sigler's.
Yeah, and you know, we don't have an ordinance against equipment.
But we have an ordinance against a trashy yard and
Well,
that's.
We do.
Do we have
Well-
ordinance against vehicles that don't run?
Yeah, but against vehicles not tagged, not running, but vehicles not tagged.
But
As long as they have a tag on them.
But
But it's
a-
not zoned for commercial, and then
No.
he's got so much commercial.
That's exactly.
There's probably another avenue, but the cleanup letter, if it's not zoned commercial, you don't send him a cleanup letter if you want to get on
Yeah,
there
we're
for
gonna
doing
have to stop
something.
them too, dragging that equipment and loading the logs and everything too. 'cause
So
they're-
maybe a
Our
way of
streets are not
addressing it
made
is
for
to see that, and we need to get that on there.
Yeah, Terry's not doing it anymore either,
But
is
there
he?
you go again too, he's got a boat and all kinds of stuff.
Well, wait a minute, how can commercial, does that mean he's parking there? Because I don't, is he?
Jackie, he has got equipment sitting there, don't even have engines in them, that they brought in there and took the engines out of them, they're just, the engines are sitting on the ground beside them.
Is that debris?
But what I was saying was, is he has a bass
I
boat
think he
sitting
can-
there, or he has a boat sitting there that you're supposed to tag and it's not tagged.
I think someone needs to file a nuisance grievance against him is what I think. It sounds more like a nuisance to me.
It is a nuisance.
I've already filed grievances to the point where they cuss me out.
Well, and two, Terry's not driving his cattle truck through town anymore either, is he?
No, he hadn't in a long time.
Yeah, parks it before he goes
I
home.
filed one more, I guess.
Well, well, what do you think? Do you think Lahoma, we don't have an ordinance against those things, but there is an ordinance against being a nuisance?
I think junk is junk,
It is.
It's a nuisance.
Just like
There's not
face
a,
and it's junk.
is there an ordinance against
Just
junk?
like face hockey.
Well, we got a.
That's what
Just
I
like
said,
face
yeah.
hockey,
I
yeah.
know. I'd love for there to be. So we either need to rewrite the ordinances,
Well, we need
which
to
is probably
take-
what we need to
Yeah.
do.
Whatever y'all tell us, we'll do.
Yeah.
But I don't think
Rewrite it.
that's appropriate in town. It's just not, and he's got a bad attitude about Gary.
Okay. Is that Gary Sigler's property? No, not Gary. What's his name?
Hey, Little Gary.
Yeah, little Gary.
Yeah.
We'll make sure Gary Sigler, make sure. And eight. Okay. Robert Josephine Edwards at 310th Street, it'll be on the next one. Harris on 707 Veterans will be on the next agenda. Judy Daniel, 203 Sequoia will be on the next agenda. Faye Saki, 501 Church will be on the next agenda. It's probably another one of those nuisance letters.
Yeah.
Jonathan
I'll
Louise
file a
Light,
nuisance against
704 Church will be on it. And we'll regroup, right?
Okay.
Gary Sigler. Gary Sigler's on.
May I just say one more?
Yes, you sure
one more
can.
thing? About the commercial, like, I don't know if we have actually a zoning ordinance or anything, I'm not familiar with it if we do. But, you know, I like Rhonda's idea about addressing that in
Yes.
that kind of sense. And then
Yes.
that way, you know, you guys have some option, or
Yeah.
you have another option to explore that because, you know, I mean, all the neighbors, they're older ladies. They tell me, but they're not gonna tell anybody else because they're afraid of retaliation. They don't know what's up over there, you know? And they don't like it, and it's disturbing, and,
Well, it would help if there was a little pride or a little care in it, but it's just, it's helter
You
skelter.
can have a home-based business that doesn't interfere
That's right.
with the neighborhood, but I believe this one's going way beyond that.
Because, you know, I mean, another public nuisance letter or complaint from me is likely to go nowhere unless there's really some juice to it, and so.
I think we need to check with the city attorney, and I think we need to visit with him and find out how do we address this at this point? What are options?
No, I understand.
And I like what Rhonda said about the zoning thing. But you know, they're gonna come in and argue things, we just have to be ready for that, it needs to be clear.
Let the judge decide from that point.
Item number 27, new business. I need to know, I had an agenda item that's not on there. We really need to address these vacant buildings downtown that are boarded up. I think that should be totally unacceptable. I mean, that's us, you know, that makes us look bad when you pull into town and you have, I don't care if there's anything in them or not, I don't think you should have businesses that have the windows are boarded up when you're on.
Well, if you're referring to mine, it's done for safety
No, I'm not
reasons.
referring to yours. But I
Other ones besides yours.
I've already talked about yours, I'm not referring to yours. I'm just referring to businesses in general. You know, something happens to the windows and they fall out, and I know it's an expense, but what does it make our community look like when you pull downtown? Those buildings might be vacant, but they have plywood across the windows.
Well, what's the solution other than?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
We need to come up with a solution. I know, Rhonda, one thing I really miss is Main Street because they did such a great job cleaning things up and pushing that, but we need to work on
I
that.
don't want the job back, I don't have time.
The other thing I think we need to work on, or try to talk to the Chamber of Commerce about working on it, and, you know, maybe partner with us. We need to figure out what we can get in these businesses that's going to bring revenue to Talihina.
Well, I know she's been visiting with a few. I don't know where she's at on that at all.
I think the chamber is maybe working on something and getting things posted
There's
of
nothing
buildings
they
to
can,
rent.
nothing they can say publicly.
No, nothing they can say.
But I think we need to start working with other people to get businesses in and to try to clean these businesses up. We may have to encourage them. We may have to send them a courtesy letter and say, we noticed this is, you know.
But Donnie, one of your buildings has been boarded up for quite a while.
Yeah.
That's the one that I would be more concerned about.
And why would I spend $600 on it when I'm going to redo that front and have to replace it again?
What building are we referring to?
The one Pollock's that I've got my stuff stored in.
Well, when I redid my building, I took my glass out and then we reinstalled
Right, but those glass are broken,
Well, you know what? I don't even really want to look inside.
you know.
Because it's full of junk.
Yeah, and you know what? It creates
It's probably precious junk.
and it's an attraction. You'd be amazed how many people stop and look and love to see
He
it.
could make a fortune if he'd sell it. Because
Yeah,
I have people all the time.
Get you
wanting to
some
buy stuff.
windows and display or something. So, okay, any more new business?
Yeah, I've got one thing. Renetta Goodrich called me the other day and said that she would provide free transportation the day of the voting for anybody that needed to go vote.
Very good.
Cats.
Very good. That's.
Did y'all hear that?
And you can register until what, March 13th?
Okay. Item number 28.
Oh, you do? Okay, I'll bring you some.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Second motion.
Second.
And a second. Any more discussion?
Are you cold? Yes.
I was cold before you got hot.
I was just. I will cut it out.
My goodness, it's hot.
Yes.
Donna?
Oh, yes.
Rhonda?
Yes. Yes.
You want me to vote?
Sir, what's the water hose for? You got me curious.